Hello everyone. In case you missed my sermon this weekend, an opportunity for you to hear now what we spoke about. You'll remember that we're in a preaching series, and this was the second week of the series. And we were focusing on why Jesus. And I think that in light of last week's happenings, and in fact, if we consider many of the events of the last month, it's really urgent that each and every one of us are sure of our purpose, that we have an understanding of our own why. And so, why do we belong to St. Josephat Parish? Why have we chosen to follow Jesus? This Sunday was the feast of the exaltation of the Holy Cross, and in the Gospel we read this: "For God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, so that everyone who believes in him might have eternal life." I would guess that most watching this little video would say that they are Catholic Christian. If you're not, well, that's great. Welcome. We're glad you are with us. But what does being a Catholic Christian mean? I suppose there are many explanations, and theologians would give some very erudite definitions of it. But fundamentally, I suppose, basically, we've chosen Jesus, and we've chosen Jesus in the Catholic community. And I think that's really important, that we have, each one of us, chosen Jesus for ourselves. And it is a choice. We could have chosen not to have any faith at all. That's quite popular these days. We could have chosen to be spiritual. That's also popular these days. I'm not entirely sure I know what being spiritual is, but many people have chosen that kind of faith. And so we in the Catholic Church have chosen to follow Jesus in a Catholic way. It's a choice, and each and every one of us needs to own that choice, be sure of that choice. Because until we do, Jesus, our worship, coming to Mass and celebrating the other sacraments, prayer, service, community, all those things are meaningless. And quite often, as we hear, boring. I agree it's boring if Jesus is not at the center, if it's not about Jesus, if it is not Jesus we have chosen to follow. And so it is deeply personal. In Jesus, God's love became flesh. And so purpose became very, very personal. And Christianity begins with a personal encounter with Jesus, a meeting of that person, Jesus Christ. In him, this love of God is made visible, a love that transforms hate to love, fear to courage, violence to peace, and despair to hope. And that's why I'm a great proponent of Alpha, because Alpha is a tool that allows people to encounter Jesus, to meet Jesus. And I know it works because I've had an experience of it myself. In my last parish in South Africa, it was really tough at the beginning. My predecessor had some dubious financial practices and decisions, and my discovering that meant that the parish was greatly hurt as we worked our way through solving and understanding what had happened. And for 2 years, it was a really hurting, difficult parish. And after 2 years, as things began to sort themselves out, lawyers and accountants and things, I looked around and said, well, what do I do to heal and transform this parish? What do I do to grow it, to be faithful to my vocation as a pastor of leading people to Jesus? And that's when I discovered Divine Renovation and Alpha. I'm eternally grateful that those two came along at that time, because it did heal the parish, it did grow the parish. And so when I left 8 years later, it was a flourishing, happy, vibrant, faith-filled community. And so I know Alpha works. I know it's a way for transformation to happen. And boy, does our world need transformation. Do our countries need transformation? Do we ourselves need transformation? And our parish communities? Someone recently wrote that Christianity is a personal and communal encounter with the living Christ. He is at the center of our parish, also at the center of our own lives. And when we put him there, when we remember he's at the center of our golden circle, then transformation happens. He makes a difference. He gives us each a purpose. So that's week 2. I hope you will join us this coming week for week 3. Why the community? Why the church? Have a great week, everyone. God bless. Bye-bye.